Hi, TDF fans. My name is Emily. I am currently playing Christine Daae in The Phantom of the Opera on Broadway.
And my name is John Riddle, and I currently play Raoul the Vicomte de Chauny in The Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. And we're so happy to be here with TDF.
I'm so excited. I also love that you say the Vicomte de Chauny. I also love how
I think you have to.
Like in this show, they'll be like Monsieur le Vicomte, but like the translated version of that is like Mr. the Vicomte.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's why I just say it. I hope I'm saying it right too. I'm sure like I did take French in high school, so I kind of have a little bit of it in my head, but I might be saying it wrong. So somebody correct me if I'm saying it wrong.
Oh no, you're saying it right.
Okay, good. Thanks. Do you speak French?
I do.
Like fluently?
Like broken more so.
Un petit peu.
Un petit peu. Yeah.
Le pamplemousse.
Nice.
That was my favorite word in French.
Really? Mm-hmm. I love that.
Should we play around with some questions?
Let's do the questions.
Okay. You read the first one.
Okay, I was just doing that.
Sure.
The Phantom of the Opera has been running on Broadway since before you both were born. How well did you know the show when you auditioned?
That's kind of cool, isn't it? That the show is older than us.
I know.
I saw The Phantom of the Opera when I was, I didn't know anything about theater, and neither did my parents, or we were not a theater family. I would like put on show. Actually, no, this is before that even. I was 4 years old, and my dad bought us tickets to see The Phantom of the Opera in Toronto because he heard the radio commercial playing, and it would play over and over and over again in his car, and he was like, "What is this? It sounds interesting. I guess we have to go." So he got us tickets, and we went and saw it. And I sat there for the entire 3.5 hours or 3 hours, whatever it is, just completely mesmerized. And I was like, I have to do this. I turned to my dad at the end of it, and I was like, I want to be an actor when I grow up. And that was literally the beginning of like, I was just obsessed with theater. And then we had this bay window in my house, and I used to put on because I was like this tall, and I could fit in the bay window, and I would put on plays in the bay window, and I would put on Phantom of the Opera fully.
You would put on plays for like your neighbors?
No, for myself. For my neighbors too. I would make my neighbors play with me too. I also put on fashion shows with my neighbors, which it was really just like costume parades, because I had an older sister, and so we had this giant bin of costumes, and so I dressed up in dresses all the time, and like I was like constantly in drag as a child, and playing the Wicked Witch of the West as well, and making potions.
That is so
But it literally all started from Phantom of the Opera, because I was like, oh, this is theater. You can pretend to be other people. Wow. And so that's what I did. And I employed I did employ my neighbor friends to be in my plays and fashion shows.
So Phantom was your first show, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
But then, I forget the question. Oh, there it is. How well did you know the show?
How well did you know? Yeah, you answered it.
Okay. But how well did I? So I knew the show super well. And then when I moved, I was obsessed with it. I made my family listen to the album in the car, like nonstop. And then when I moved to New York almost 10 years ago, I can't believe it. It was my first audition.
Oh, wow. Really?
The very, very first audition in New York City for Raoul and the Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. I did not get it. And then I auditioned, I think, like 7 more times and didn't get it. And then my agent called a couple summers ago, and he was like, "Hey, they want you to come in again." And I was like, okay, like, but I think like if I don't get it this time, I think like I'm gonna hang it up, you know?
Yeah.
And so I went in, and my agent called. He's like, "It's not gonna go your way." I'm like, "That's fine. That's totally cool. On to the next." And then 2 months later, they called, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to be in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway?" I was laying by the pool at the Dumbo House in Brooklyn on a beautiful summer day, and my agent called, and I was like, I would absolutely love to.
Wait, so they told you no, and then they were like, "Ah, never mind." And then they
Yeah,
said,
and
"That is
I still
crazy."
have no idea what I'll have to ask the powers that be someday. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't ask any questions. I just said yes.
You're like,
I knew the show very well. It was a long road from that 4-year-old kid to sitting by the pool at the Dumbo House.
yeah. And here we are.
Now here we are,
And
talking to
you
TDF.
so
Okay, wait, tell me about yours.
okay, so
You need to
I
pull
saw
them.
the show the first time I saw the show was the first show I saw on Broadway too, but I was in high school and I saw it on like a high school trip, like to New York. And out of all the shows that they gave us to see, like they gave us like Pippin and Kinky Boots, like it was that year where like all of those shows were on. We chose Phantom and Matilda. Just like the
Right.
randomest, like what? I mean, of course, Phantom is amazing, but like I don't know, like it was just such like a weird choice,
Yeah,
Matilda.
you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
I never saw Matilda,
um,
actually.
it was actually very good. I really enjoyed it.
Most of the little
But yeah,
girls
so
that play Matilda are insane in a
what'd
good
you
way.
say?
Like I know some of the girls that played Matilda, and they're the most talented people in the world. So
Yeah, they were like singing and dancing. Like I was like, what? Like no, like
go off. Okay.
I literally can't do any of that. I can't even sing at that point. Um, but yeah, so we saw Phantom, and I saw it like really high up in like the nosebleed seats. So, and I honestly didn't even remember much of it, and like I don't even like think my wheels were turning at that point where I was like, I want to play Christine. Like it was more just like, oh, okay, like another show, like a beautiful like Broadway show I just saw.
Like
Like
that was nice.
yeah, I was like, oh, it's nice, like it's fine. And then in college, I remember getting like a rep song. I did "Think of Me" for like one of my rep days in like my senior performance class. And I remember like we got to work with this woman who uh, worked with like Christine's or something, or who worked like voice stuff for Christine's on the Broadway, and she got to like critique me and like help me.
On the Broadway, who was it?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm so bad with names.
I know, I am too. I'm trying to be better about it. That was
Yeah,
one of my New Year's resolutions.
yeah,
Actually,
but yeah.
what's your name again?
It's in the box.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, hi, Emily.
Um, but yeah, and then
And
so
then when
yeah,
you
and
sang
then
it,
my first audition for Phantom was hmm?
when you sang it,
Huh?
were you like, I'm good?
I mean, I always think that I was I was like, no, I just like, I don't know. I like, well, actually, oh my gosh, I'm skipping a whole moment. Um, I did think I was pretty good at it. Yes, because I like
Oh.
soprano stuff is like very comfortable for me.
Mhm.
And I was like, I could do this role. Like and this was in like college too. So I remember one of the casting directors for Phantom came and did like a master class at Michigan, and we got to have meetings with him, and I like sat down with him, and he was like, so like what are you thinking about your future? Like what roles do you see yourself in? And I was like, I mean, I honestly like think I could play Christine. Like
You
in
said that?
yeah, yeah.
You literally planted that seed.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, okay." Like I was like, "Yeah, I think I could like be Christine on Broadway." Um, and he was
That
like,
is so
"Okay,
major.
cool." Like he didn't really like he was like, "Okay, sure."
Mhm.
Um, and then as soon as I graduated, I got my first audition for Phantom because of him, because he was like, "Let me see what this girl has to offer."
Right. And also
Um,
because you were like, I can play Christine.
yeah, I was like, "I think we're gonna do this," and he was like, "I'm
That's
gonna give
so
you a
good.
chance." And so I think my first audition went pretty well, but it was for like the world tour, and I don't know, but it just like didn't happen that time. First audition, and then the next year was right before the pandemic is when I auditioned again, and
With
you were
me, right?
yes, yes.
Yes. They called me for the TDF folks out there. They called me into. They were like, "Hey, we're having new Christine auditions. Will you come in and read with them?" And so I came to the callbacks, and there was, I think, like 7 people that came in or something, and you were one of them. And then the world shut down, but
Yeah,
because you were like,
yeah.
"Oh, nice to see you again," and I was like, "What?"
Oh wait, you really
Yes.
you didn't remember?
And you were like, "You read with me at the auditions," and I was like, "That was like 10 years ago."
That is so embarrassing. I remember it clear as day. Like I remember I was
Well,
like, John Riddle is in my room right now.
like
Like,
that would make sense because like I don't know, like that seems so specific, you know.
yeah.
I don't know. Not that you weren't special. I don't mean to say that. But I do remember because they would ask me, they would go, like Seth is our resident director, and he would turn to me and he would say, what did you think? And I I must have said like duh when after your audition.
You must have said it. You don't know if you said it.
No, but I must have because I definitely had an opinion.
Oh
Do you
my
know?
god.
I must have. And also you
I
got
think
it.
you're well, yeah, yeah, eventually.
So
Um, but I think because Michael Goddard, like after my audition, like because you know Michael, right?
yeah.
Because
Michael
um,
is Emily's agent, by the way, for anybody
yes,
who's
sorry,
listening.
sorry, he's my
And
agent.
a very good friend of ours.
Um, but he was like, yeah, John was in like John like loved your audition, like he was in your room, blah blah blah. So you did.
It's all coming back to me now because he texted me. It's all coming back to me now because he texted me and he was like, "One of my girls is coming in." Like I could go back and read the text message
Oh my
because
gosh.
girls. I do remember now, and I remember,
Well,
and then I texted him after, and I was like, "She was stunning. She's a star. She needs to get it." And
yeah,
now
sure.
her.
Sure. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
the next question.
Okay. Here, I'll read it for you because it's a Christine Daae question.
Okay.
Christine Daae is so vocally demanding. There's an alternate. I'm being so dramatic. Emily, can you talk about transitioning from alternate to star? And John, what's it like working with 2 different leading ladies? Okay, you start.
Okay. So I would say that when I was the alternate, it was nice because like I didn't have to do the show that often, so it just felt really chill. But I will say when I did do the show, it was just like harder to like get into because I wasn't like doing it as frequently as I am right now. Now I feel like the show is like in me, and that like I can like take a little bit of pressure off myself, and like I can like play around a little bit more on stage and like do different things and like feel like secure in my role. Um that being said, these 2 show days are stressing me out. Like I'm still trying to figure out like how to deliver but not push too hard to where I'm completely exhausted by the end of a 2 show day.
Yeah.
Um, so that
I
I'm still working on.
I
But
think being the alternate is the hardest job on Broadway.
you
Because
think
like
so?
you said, I think so because it's like the difference between like going to the gym twice a week and going to the gym like 5 times a week. Like
That's true.
you're gonna be like your muscles are gonna be in shape if you do it 5 times a week or 6 times a week, whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And then you also have to like bop in and be like, JK, I'm Christine today. You know, like I think that is so stressful.
Yeah, it is. It was hard. And it especially was hard when like the transition happened and I had to do it more. And I was like, frick, like my voice.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I don't have like the stamina fully yet. Because it's only been a couple weeks. But I like that I'm able to like just like settle a little bit more and not feel so stressed about what I'm doing on stage.
Well, and the more you do it, like it gets easier, right? That's
Yeah,
what I think.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
I love it because it's like it does change it up, and it also like sometimes I'll be like it makes you listen more too. Like sometimes you can get in sort of a rhythm with each other, but
Yeah,
I love that we we change it up all the time because it makes you hear different things and like I don't know, it just keeps it fresh. So I love that.
yeah, and you've had like 3 different you've had
I
4,
had a bunch. I almost like lost track. I think maybe four, maybe even five.
5 different Christines in the span of
I
life,
think so. I think so.
and even 3 in the span of like the past 4 months. Like that's like
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. But it's fun. I like it. And everybody's so magnificent in their own way. So it's like, I like it. It's fun.
Gorge.
It's cool. Gorge.
Um, okay, do you wanna read this one?
Oh, sure. Emily, you were a recent college graduate making your professional NYC stage debut in Unknown Soldier at Playwrights Horizons. I didn't know that. When theaters shut down. Did you consider pivoting to another career?
Yeah, I did consider it. I did. I don't know if I would have actually gone through with it. I mean, I was like, like, okay, so my family is very much like, you have to provide for yourself. And I was like, growing
Same.
up, like I was always like super independent. And so during the pandemic, I became dependent on like my parents a lot, like not only like financially, but like, yeah, just like financially. And I just like, I did not like that at all because I just like to be able to be on my own. And so I was like, how can I make sure that I'm able to live in this city because love living here and still try and pursue this dream of mine. And I was like, maybe I should like go back to school or like pick up another, profession that like can help me like pay the bills. Basically, it was truly as simple as like just like trying to pay bills and like live.
Because that was really, I mean, that was the goal of living
Yeah,
the last 2 years was like, how do
yeah.
I
How do I live?
and
And like
doesn't exist.
I didn't, and I had done Unknown Soldier at Playwrights, but I didn't have a ton of credits. And so it was harder to like, get auditions and like book auditions, especially like TV and film, which was like really popular during the pandemic to audition for if I didn't have any prior experience or like reels, um, then it would just be harder for me.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to be able to, provide for myself. So I was considering like a bunch of different things. I had like I remember making like a list of like other things I'm good at.
How did
And
that make you feel?
I mean, honestly, it helped me realize that like I do have like so much more to offer than just like my talents as a performer, and
Mhm.
that like I have a lot of other interests that fulfill me and like that I could make money off of too, which is really exciting. Um, so yeah,
Because
it
how
was.
long were you in New York? How long were you in New York before the pandemic?
I was in New York for a year before the pandemic.
Yeah, so you
I
were
was a year
still
ago.
pretty new.
Yeah, I was pretty new, but like I had a good like enough time to where I was like, I really love living here.
Yeah. And
Stay.
you like had enough, you had a year to like dig your feet in.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I feel like I feel so hard for the kids who say kids, but the people who just got out of college and then got here and then everything shut down and it's like, okay, well now what?
like what do you do? Like
Yeah. What do you do? Yeah. So I don't know, that requires a whole other level of bravery.
I know, I know. I really feel for everyone who had to graduate.
So wait, then like when did this happen then?
Literally, I was like, if I don't book something by the fall, I'm applying to schools. So, and that was
That was
2021. That was this past year. And so this happened in May. That was my first audition, was in May.
okay.
And then my last audition was in like June or July or something.
And then if you didn't get this, you were like gonna go to business school or something.
Yeah,
Isn't that so crazy?
I know.
How life can just like that.
Yeah, I think about it all the time, like the
It's
universe had me for
yeah,
some weird
yeah.
reason.
I mean, that's really cool.
Thank you. Was there a side of the question for oh, here we go. John, you were playing Raoul and Phantom when everything stopped. Did the cast keep in touch during the shutdown?
We did. Yeah. It was funny because I was still pretty new to the cast, so and our group at Phantom is a lot of them have been there for a while, so they have like there's this very unique family that exists at Phantom, which
Yeah.
is it is. Um, and I was still pretty new to the show, so I was still kind of like the stepchild I felt like of the show, but Phantom was super. They were so great at keeping us informed about what was going on. Like we would get emails all the time, and we had Zoom calls, and we would just meet on Zoom every once in a while to talk about what was going on and like keep us updated. And so I don't know. Phantom took really good care of us. At the same time, I had no idea. At a certain point, I was just like, this probably isn't coming back, and maybe it will, and I won't be a part of it. Or I sort of just, I sort of had to dissociate in a way because show business, I guess, and you just never know. And so I just kind of like, I put, um, I sort of put it in the back of my mind. And then I can't remember when exactly it happened, but I got a phone call that from my agent saying, "Hey, they want you to come back," um, and so I was very grateful and very excited, and I don't know, I feel super lucky because I definitely had a conversation with myself too of like, what am I gonna do now, you know? But I did say at a certain point I made a decision that I was like, am I gonna pivot to something else or am I gonna do something else? And I did make a conscious decision. I was like, I'm the pandemic taught me like how much I loved and missed theater and that I wasn't ready to go do anything else. And um, I don't know. I guess I was just like one of the lucky people. I made a decision to really just stick to my guns, and I figured out ways of supporting myself. I don't know. I just got really lucky. I don't know. But we did keep in touch with the Phantom fam, and my dresser Terrence, who is a good buddy of mine. We talked on the phone all the time and kept in touch.
Oh,
He
oh,
kept
I
me.
love that.
He also knows all the inside dish. So
Yeah, yeah. He seems like he does.
I'd be like, "What's going on?
Yeah.
Give me the tea." So
Well,
that
I was gonna ask, did you like in the rehearsal process when everyone came back, like, did you like that you were able to like talk to people for and like actually like get to know people? Because I know like when you're put into a show, it's like it's hard to like
yeah,
get to know people.
that's what I was like. I mean, everybody at our show is so lovely and welcoming and warm and like it. I didn't. I wasn't like an outsider, but I did feel like I was like coming into this thing that you probably may have felt the same thing. Like I was coming into this thing that has existed for so long. And so yeah, it was really nice to when we had that month-long rehearsal process in a room. Like I had conversations with people in our company that I maybe probably had 5 sentences with in the
Yeah.
few months that I was at the show because you're just, especially our parts in the show, were kind of like separate from everybody else.
Yeah.
In the theater, our dressing rooms are literally on opposite sides of the theater, so we don't. It's not like we run into them backstage even, and we're on stage almost the whole show. You especially, but we don't see anybody really. So like unless you go out for a drink after or have time in a rehearsal room, you don't see anybody really. So yeah, that was kind of awesome because I felt like, oh, here's this face that I know and have seen every day for a few months, but
Like
we
in costume,
yeah,
but like now you're like seeing them. It's
yeah, but you have like you're dressed as I don't know
just as a
what
prop.
that is. Yeah. Yeah, you have like a powder wig on and like 10 pounds of eyeshadow. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was really nice. I said that I think we even like said that a couple times, like how nice this is to actually like get to know each other.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah.
Um, okay, Phantom is a challenging high-tech production. Have there been any amusing onstage mishaps? Did I say that right? Amusing onstage mishaps.
Yes. Have you had any?
Um,
I feel like I have a lot, but I don't know.
you do? I
Yeah,
don't
but
have any crazy ones. Only there was one time when there was one time, this is pre-shutdown, but where all of the candles stopped working, and so they were like going into the final layer on the boat, and all the candles were still up, and I was like, and we were like getting ready to jump off. I was getting ready to jump off the bridge, and I was like, what do we do? And like the boat had to stop, and I think like a crew guy came out and pulled the boat off. Like it was so awkward. And I think they kept. I don't think we paused the show because I think somebody said like one of our stage managers said like only 3 times in the history of Phantom or something crazy
we
have they ever
paused the show.
stopped. Yeah, and we did pause the show. Do you remember during when we reopened this time? We paused the show for something. I can't remember what though. Do you remember that?
Yes, I was backstage. Yeah, it was because was there like a mic issue or like the orchestra went out or something?
Oh
It
yeah, we
sounded
went
like
on
it went
stage.
completely out.
They I was like about to it was during Think of Me, and like
Yeah.
I was about to make that entrance, and they're like somebody backstage was like, John, the sound is gonna be a little weird. And I was like, okay. I get out there, and it was like it was so trippy because you could not hear the orchestra, and all I heard was Christine singing Think of Me, and I was like, what is going on, and how am I gonna sing whatever the thing I sing? Da 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 da. I'm like, how am I gonna do this? And I did, but we stopped the show for like 20 minutes. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, I remember that, and I remember, like, everyone backstage knew what was happening except for Megan, and
Oh
she was
yeah,
just like she just kept going because like, she's on stage singing, the only
and
person.
nobody told her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then they stopped and we, like, escorted her out. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
I'm trying to think that. Have you ever had any?
Oh, I feel like there's something every day, but, like, little things, like
Yeah.
well, okay, this was one, my negligee, when the Phantom is, like, chasing me, it got caught on his organ, like, the bottom of it, and it literally just, like, ripped across the stage as I was running, so it was like toilet paper, like, all across the
Did
stage.
you get stuck though?
No, I didn't get stuck, like, it just, like, let me go, but it was just like
Like you're like.
can you imagine? I just, like, fall. No, and then I did my, like, fake fall or whatever, and then you know how the Phantom, like,
Wait, that's fake.
crawls?
Your fall is
He,
fake.
like, tried to, like, un
Wait,
no,
what?
it's very real. No, he like grabs the fabric and like wraps it around his arm to like help me, and like I was like pulling it like as he was crawling towards me, and it was just like it was one of those like moments where you're just like, okay, whatever.
I do think about every single day though, like how like anything like it could
And
go seriously wrong. There's because there are so many. I forget how many. There's like 127 trapdoors in the stage or something. Some fan would have to correct me on that. But I think about there's this the Madame Giry scene in the second act after Masquerade. We're like down in one doing that lantern scene, and they are like you can hear them under the stage like closing little locks to shut the trap doors, and I'm like, what if they miss
like,
one?
yeah, yes, this is what I think about every day,
Every day, and then I'm running off in the darkness, like complete dark, and like that is my worst fear, my leg like going through
clock.
or like going down into the basement, and you're like half because you hear the horror stories.
Do you know
That
what?
is a true nightmare.
You know what scares me? In All I Ask of You, or like right before when you're like, Christine, and then I go and hug you
Yeah.
because the trap door is right behind you. I'm like, what if one day like we lose balance and you just
Yeah.
fall through? I'm sorry if I unlocked something for you. I just
I'm gonna be terrified of that every night. And then like one day there was a night a couple weeks ago when like something fell. I don't know.
oh, out of my dress or
No, didn't the well that too. There was like there was like vinyl blinds. Like, on top. We looked down, we're like, did some of these window shades fall off of the we're like, there's
like
someone
not this hardware.
what is that?
Yeah, I was like, I literally was like, oh my god.
There's like whale bones on the
And then afterwards, my friend was like, "Why were you looking down in the final layer?" And I was like, "'Cause something fell out."
isn't that so funny? The other day, a couple weeks ago, one of Carlotta's furs fell off of her big thing in the second manager scene, and it looked like a cat tail, like a Persian cat tail or something. And nobody would pick it up in the scene. I don't know why, but I was like, you guys, somebody has to pick this up. And at one point, Marie, our Madame Jury, literally went up to it and stood by it. And we all started dying laughing because the way that she was up, it looked like there was a cattail sticking out of her dress, and we were dying for the entire scene. You had to be there, but like it was wild. And then finally, I picked it up and threw it off stage.
Oh, come on, good for you.
Yeah.
Phantom's fans are very vocal. What are your most memorable audience reactions? I don't.
They do whoop it up after
Me
you sing.
too. I was very surprised. Like
But after you sing "Think of Me," they are so excited.
they do get excited, and it makes
Yeah,
me happy because I'm like, yes. Like I love like hearing feedback.
I know.
Audience. I don't know if that's vain of me, but like I just like love that.
It's not. That's like I think that's partly why we all do this, right?
Yeah, just yeah, a little bit of
I always laugh when you're like when you are standing on that stage and like all those almost 2,000 people are standing there clapping, and then you just kind of walk out the door and get on the train, and like nobody would know. It's sort of just a funny sensation, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
I like that though. I just got not that I have trust me, not that it's like paparazzi walking down the street, but like I do sort of like hide after.
Oh yeah,
I love to be on stage, but I don't like any of the after stuff.
me neither. Me, it's not for
Like,
me.
I'm like, run away. I want to run away. I don't want to talk to anybody, even if it's like somebody who thinks I'm Meryl Streep. Like, I don't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Can you imagine being like so famous that like
No.
you can't walk on the street? Like I couldn't
Truly, I would never want that.
ever.
I'm not in this game for that.
I'm just here to sing some songs.
I'm just here to sing some songs and like, I don't know. But
Ah,
really, truly though, like that is truly my worst nightmare.
yeah.
Is to like not be able to go walk and like get a coffee even, or
Someone like stopped me in my neighborhood in Brooklyn. Like when I was actually walking to the train and someone was like, Emily. And I was like, what? I was like, do I know this person? But no, it was like some random
Well, you
person.
are kind of famous. You're a big Broadway star. So,
I don't know. I'm not used to it. I was just
well,
like, oh my
you're used
God,
to it.
wait. And I was like wearing like my scarf. Like I was like wrapped up like incognito and they still recognize me.
It is fun when it happens, but I don't know. It's just I don't know. I do also like when I jump off the bridge, I like when people
Yeah.
I do
Because
like when that
sometimes
happens.
it's so like, it's just like, wow.
You're like, what? Speaking of things that could go wrong, I'm like, how has knock on wood, but like, what? That is crazy.
Because some girls just like run off the stage, right? Or like run off the bridge instead of jumping.
I think you're not supposed to. I mean, like, I've done it before because if you're not sure or you feel like something's weird that night, or you're
Yeah.
not supposed to jump, obviously.
Yeah.
But like that's what I wonder because nobody asked me before I played this part. Nobody asked me like, "Hey, by the way, are you chill with jumping off a 17-foot
Did they
bridge?"
ask you?
No, I don't think it's 17. I forget how tall it is. It's not even that tall,
Oh,
um, but yeah, they were like, "Okay, and then you're gonna jump off this bridge," and I'm not afraid of heights or anything.
yeah,
That kind of stuff doesn't scare me at all. But even this is like, and even still, sometimes I'm like, "This is nuts."
it is. It looks nuts. And I it's like that moment and, like, the fire
Yeah, the
after.
fire, like,
I'm like, every time.
that's what I think is. Oh, that's another one when the audience goes. Oh, and there's spoiler alert, but there's like a gunshot in
Right.
the, which I think is like terrifying, honestly.
It is, yeah. Especially
But
here.
I love people do scream at that, which I think is wild. It's very theatrical.
It's very, like,
But the fact that there's like fire in that kind of
in the
vibe.
pit. No, John, I'm telling I have intrusive thoughts about this. Wishing, almost every time I do wishing, I'm like, "What if they, like, skip ahead a few cues?"
Or what if they like didn't put the fire out all the way? Like whatever. Yeah. I think about that in what's that part? Oh my god, it's so funny. I don't know any of the words to the show until you're doing it. Twisted every way. And I'm like kneeling down. I'm like, because I'm over those like I forget what they call them, like smoke pots or something. It's
Yeah.
not it's not smoke pots. I don't
So
know,
fun.
whatever they're called. Like, what if he's accidentally just like, because there I go. They're actually there we both go. I trust our crew, guys. Nothing's
I
gonna.
no, I do too.
The show's been running for 34 years. I think they have it figured out.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Okay, Emily, you're the first Black performer to play Christine Dye on Broadway. Can you both speak to the importance of Broadway becoming more inclusive, especially the long-running hits?
Oh, yeah. Let's get into it, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very exciting, on my end. It's also very just, like I just, like whenever I think about it, I always go back to, like, me in, like, high school and, like, in middle school, and, like, Christine is, when you think about Christine, you think about a white woman playing her. Like, that's just, for me, like, that's just,
Yeah.
like,
Not
back in
anymore.
the day, like,
But
who I it's like the classic, like, ingenue, beautiful, like, pretty woman who, like, everyone wants, you know? And, like, growing up, like, I, like, never felt like I was, like, desired or that I could play a character that was that desirable because, like, the world told me I wasn't, right? So, getting to be that girl, like, that girl, it is so fun and so just, like, healing for, like, my inner, like, child and, like, like, who I was before. Um, so that's, like, the biggest thing I think about, and, like, I really hope that, like, whenever, like, another, like, Black girl who's, like, struggling, like, if they come see me, like, I hope that, like, they can also just, like, see themselves in a light of, like, you are desirable, like, you can be the, delicate, lovely ingenue girl, you know? Um, because, like, I feel like just Black women just, like, often don't get to be that in this world. So I think it's extremely important to have this moment, and that Broadway is, like, in this huge transition, I think is really, really great. So,
that's like it's so major, isn't it? I think it's interesting too that like it it I don't know, like it also look at what you changed the show too, I think. Don't you think?
I mean, I don't
I
know
feel
who I
like
was before.
in the best way. Like it like I don't know, it seems crazy that I don't know, it's just beautiful. That's all I can say. And I think it's beautiful that, like, what you said, I think it's incredibly healing to watch. You know, we're going through this, we're having this reckoning on Broadway. And I think especially in a show like Phantom, like to have you at the center now, to show like we are this old, and I'll use the word old because we're old. We're like the grandfather on Broadway. Like,
Literally.
and and I think if we're gonna stick around, which we should stick around because our show is gorge and it is timeless and it still holds up. I had a bunch of friends who just came to the show last week and they were like, this is still like the greatest show on Broadway.
Oh.
But like to say that like, look, this is how it should be and why it shouldn't just be a white girl to play this part. Right?
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with like I have friends coming to see the show now who just like underestimated how good Phantom was because they had seen it when they were like really young or they'd never seen it before. I think a lot of people underestimate how amazing the show is. And I think that right now, especially, people are coming to see the show more who may have never seen it otherwise. And are getting to see how beautiful it is and how beautiful the story and are falling in love with the show and the characters all over again. Mm-hmm. So that's really exciting because I really love this show. And so I'm just like excited that other people are like getting to love it too.
Because it is universal. And that's like sort of the whole point about representation and the importance of it, because it does represent all of us. And even this show that has been around for all this time, having you at the center now is bringing in a whole new audience of people that see themselves.
Yeah.
And are probably healed in the same way that you are. So I think it's just like, I think it's incredibly important, especially in a show like ours.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
And there's like, you're the perfect person to do it because you're just a movie star and you're you are Christine. So like there's nothing more perfect.
Oh, thank you, Johnny.
I believe that. I don't know. That's just what I have to think about it. It's so cool. Purr. Look at me like, what are they saying?
They're like, what? Don't worry about it. Andrew Lloyd Webber DJ'd a massive party for Phantom's Broadway reopening last fall. Share your best memory or story from that starry evening. Oh my God. Well, I was in the audience and it was giving the energy. It was buzzing. Everyone was so excited. Like I literally like walked past so many celebrities. Also, the Countess from Real Housewives of New York. Countess Luann, I walked past her in her fur. I literally like stopped in my tracks. I was like, and I was like, should I say something? And then I was like, no, I shouldn't say anything. She's not gonna know who the fuck I am. I'm so sorry. But I just like that was a really fun night. I remember, and
I'm kind of jealous you were in the audience. I mean, being on stage was really dope, but it was crazy.
Yeah. Because did you get to go out and see Andrew DJing?
We didn't get to go. No. Well, I did at the very end. I did, but we were supposed to be backstage to take a picture. Remember, we were like, where's Emily? We were like trying to find out. You were like outraging on the street as you should have.
No, I was raging on the street, but when they were trying to escort Andrew in to take the picture, I was trying to follow them, like to like get in through like the front door, but like they closed before I could get there, so I had to like go all the way around, like. So I was like, and I was wearing these shoes that were like really hard to walk in. And
you're like, do you have any idea who I am?
Yeah. It's like
because they were like, we need you to stay in here, right. So that we can like time, because Andrew has like hit this small pocket of time to take this picture, so we don't want to lose you, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And so, but I did sneak out on the balcony at the front of the Majestic on 44th Street, and I did peek my head out the window, and it was wild.
Yeah, it
I
was.
was like, is this truly happening?
It
Angela
really
was like DJ. It was, I mean, that was a really special night. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I don't think I'll forget that ever either. And it was really cool afterwards too when y'all came out to like meet everyone and like everyone was so excited to see you guys.
It was
Like
cool.
it was just like so cool to watch. I was like, I'm in rehearsals with these people and like they're also celebrities that like people admire. So that was really fun.
I'll, that my most memorable moment of that night was waiting backstage when I was like in my old Raoul makeup, and I was just standing there waiting to go on stage, and like Cameron McIntosh and Andrew and Chuck Schumer were all standing there, and I was just like, this is so crazy. These are like titans of theater. I mean,
Yeah.
and Chuck Schumer now, because he got us back on stage really, but like these, like, I don't know, I grew up on this stuff, and now I'm like standing here with the guy who wrote it. I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just like trippy. I don't know, it's just you're talking about like we were talking about like the universe looking out for you. I'm like, sometimes you find yourselves in places where you're just supposed to be standing,
Yeah.
and I just felt like I was supposed to be standing right there right then. And then like the lights went out, the crowd went berserk. And I
Literally.
was in the pandemic, like I thought about, I was like, I just want to go do one more show. Like I would daydream about that moment when the lights come up and I'm like sitting there in the wheelchair and the lights come up and the crowd like freaked out, and it was even bigger than I imagined it. It was really cool.
Aww.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so sweet.
it was a fun night.
Yeah, that was a fun
Andrew
night.
DJing, which I think made like the time, like time 100, like
Yeah, and I'm really dead with his little red headphones,
yeah, his beats.
his beats.
And the Real Housewives, like what?
I know.
I love it.
All right.
Question.
Last question. Be each other's phantom. If you were able to guide the other's career, what role would you cast your co-star in? You could play anything, I feel like.
Really? I don't know about anything.
Yeah. Like
But that's
oh, you would be such a good Jesus.
in Jesus Christ Superstar? Oh wow, I've never thought of that actually.
You would be with the hair, long hair. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
let's make this happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. That's hard to sing.
You got it.
I don't know if I would want to do that 8 times a week.
Okay, you do like a summer stock, like
Okay, I'll do like a quick like gig, like a quick.
yeah.
I'll do it on Broadway too. I don't care. Do you know? I feel like
Yeah, that's it for you.
I can't wait to see what you do. You're gonna be like, you're gonna have a wild career. It's gonna be really. Here's what I was thinking. This just came to me. I just watched Passing yesterday. That movie with Tessa Thompson. You have to watch this. It's so good. But you should play that part in the musical when they make it. You have to watch it. You have to watch this.
What is it on?
It's on Netflix.
Passing? Okay.
It's so good. And Tessa Thompson's so amazing in it, but you should play it. You should play that on stage. In the music. Even though I'm sort of anti like making movies into musicals right now. Like let's
I was
make
about to
some.
say, like, how do you feel about that? Like they're doing that a lot now.
Which was gonna be my next thing is that your part hasn't been written yet. Somebody's gonna write something and they're gonna be like, we have to have Emily.
I feel like
you're gonna originate something incredible.
I literally would love to, like, I feel like that's good, like that's so fun to just like make a role from scratch, like, and not
Yeah,
have anything to go off of.
that's the dream.
Oh, fun.
That's the dream. So yours hasn't been written yet.
Sure.
I think that about mine. I hope that mine hasn't been written yet either, because
Yeah,
I want to like make something
yeah, yeah.
that nobody else has done. I don't know what that is yet. That's a fun question. I'm trying to now. I'm gonna be like, oh, what should Emily do now?
Yeah, we should
Is
come up
there
with
is there a part where you're like, I have to play this part? There has to be something.
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. Well, I've always wanted to, like, be an Aida and play Aida because that was, like, the first show I fell in love with, and, like,
Absolutely.
I'm obsessed with Heather Headley, like,
You are Aida.
I
Like,
literally
I'm nerding out about musical theater. You you have to be Aida now.
I literally, like, she's my idol.
Yeah. Who,
So,
Heather or Aida?
Heather, but,
Yeah.
like, also
Oh, you're like a low key like young Heather Headley. Yeah. Wait, let's put that out. Hello, universe. Let's
hello.
put that out into the universe.
Hi, universe. Manifest it.
Okay, that's really good. So you're gonna originate something, and then you're also gonna play Aida. Perfect. So
5-year plan.
solved.
And we're both gonna originate. Oh, look at that. Thank you.
But in the meantime, we're gonna be on stage at the Majestic Theater.
Yes, honey.
The
Every
Phantom of
night
the Opera.
except Tuesday.
Falling in love.
Falling in love. Falling. Period.
Falling period. There's gonna be a whole sector of the audience that is like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
And a whole sector of the audience that will know exactly what we're talking about.
And we are catering to that.
And we love all sectors.
We love all sections.
This was super fun.
This was fun.
I learned things about you that I didn't know.
I know. I was about to say,
An
like,
hour.
I know. We should chat.
So let's just get on. We're gonna get on every Sunday at 1, and we're just gonna kind of catch up, kind of work things out,
We should start a podcast.
and plot the next 5 years. We could start a podcast.
Good.
Should we do the next? We could do the next 5 years. Do you know that musical?
The last 5 years?
Maybe not. The last 5 years.
You
I say the last 9.
I thought you said the next 5 years.
Oh, maybe I did. Wait, what's the musical called? Is it called the last? It's called the last 5 years.
The last 5 years, yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, maybe we'll be in the sequel, which will be the next 5 years.
The next oh my god.
Okay, well, thanks, TDF. Thanks for coming to hang out with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
And Emily, I'll see you tonight.
Right.
All right. I adore you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye.